In 2021, a new face appeared on the hit series Swamp People, quickly drawing attention with her fearless attitude and sharp hunting skills. Known as Pickle, she seemed destined for long-term success in Louisiana's dangerous swamp hunts. But within a short time, questions began to surface about her sudden changes, reduced appearances, and personal life shifts. What really happened behind the scenes, and where is she now? Stay with the story as the truth slowly unfolds. Long before television cameras arrived, the story of Pickle had already begun deep in the swamps of Louisiana. She was born Cheyenne Wheat into a family where hunting was not a hobby. It was a way of life. From a young age, she was surrounded by the sounds of water, the hum of boats, and the quiet tension of the wild. Her grandfather played a key role in shaping her early years. He was known in the community as a skilled and respected alligator hunter. His knowledge was not written in books. It was passed down through experience, through long days on the water, and through careful observation of nature. Pickle learned by watching first, then by doing. As a child, she followed along on hunting trips, paying close attention to every movement. She learned how to read the water, how to spot signs of alligators, and how to stay calm in dangerous moments. These were not easy lessons. The swamp can be unpredictable, and even experienced hunters face real risks every season. In Louisiana, alligator hunting is strictly controlled. The season usually begins in late summer and lasts only a few weeks. Hunters must follow state regulations, use specific tags, and respect limits. It is both a tradition and a regulated industry. This environment shaped Pickle into someone disciplined and focused. She grew up understanding that one mistake in the swamp could have serious consequences. That reality built her confidence, but also her caution. She learned patience. She learned respect for nature. By the time she reached her teenage years, she was already handling tasks many adults struggled with. Setting lines, handling equipment, facing live alligators with steady hands. This was not a role given to her. It was something she earned. Her nickname, Pickle, came from her childhood. It stayed with her as she grew, becoming part of her identity. Over time, it became the name people recognized both in her local community and later on television. But life in the swamp, while strong and grounded, was also private. There were no cameras, no large audiences, just family, tradition, and survival. That would soon change. When the opportunity came to join a national television show, it opened a door she had never fully imagined. It was a chance to share her skills with the world. But it also meant stepping into a completely different environment. The swamp was still there, but now it would be watched by millions. And with that attention came new pressures, new expectations, and a level of exposure she had never experienced before. Everything she knew was about to be tested in a new way. Because once the cameras arrived, the rules of the game began to shift. But when the cameras started rolling, the swamp was no longer the only challenge she had to survive. In 2021, Pickle stepped into a world far bigger than the swamp she had always known. She joined Swamp People during its 12th season, a show that had been running for over a decade. By that time, the series had already built a loyal audience across the United States and beyond. Viewers were familiar with the dangers, the traditions, and the personalities who defined the swamp. For a newcomer, stepping into that space was not easy. But Pickle did not hesitate. She joined the team of Troy Landry, one of the most experienced and recognizable alligator hunters on the show. Known for his calm leadership and deep knowledge, Troy had worked with many people over the years. But Pickle brought something different. She brought energy. She brought confidence. And most importantly, she brought real skill. From her first appearances, it was clear she was not there just for television. She handled bait lines, controlled the boat, and faced aggressive alligators with steady focus. Her movements were precise. Her reactions were fast. Viewers noticed this immediately. Many praised her as a strong addition to the cast. Some even said she reminded them of earlier generations of hunters, those who learned through experience rather than instruction. Her nickname also stood out. Pickle was unique, memorable, and easy to recognize. It helped her quickly build a public identity. But behind the scenes, things were more complex. Filming a reality show is very different from real life. Hunting seasons are already intense, but production adds another layer of pressure. Cameras follow every move. Timelines are tighter. Certain moments must be captured clearly. This creates stress, even for experienced hunters. According to industry reports, reality TV often requires long filming hours, repeated takes, and constant coordination with crew members. For someone new, this can feel overwhelming. Pickle had to balance two roles at once. She had to be a real hunter, and she had to be part of a television production. At the same time, her visibility began to grow. Social media started to play a major role. Fans followed her online, commented on her appearances, and shared opinions about her performance. Some messages were supportive. Others were critical. This kind of attention can change a person's experience very quickly. Before the show, her life was private. After joining, everything became public. Even small details were noticed. Her decisions on the water, her interactions with other cast members, even her expressions during intense moments were discussed by viewers. Despite this, she continued to perform well. Episode after episode, she showed consistency. She proved she could handle the physical and mental demands of the job. She built trust with her team. But something else was happening at the same time. Fame was growing fast, and with it came expectations. Fans wanted to see more of her. Producers needed strong performances. The show required energy, drama, and results. Balancing all of this was not simple. Because while her career on television was rising, her personal life was also changing in ways the audience could not fully see. And those changes would soon begin to affect everything. Because just as her popularity reached its peak, something unexpected started to shift behind the scenes. As Pickle Wheat's presence on Swamp People continued to grow, so did public interest in her life beyond the swamp. At first, the focus was on her skills, but slowly, attention began to shift. Fans wanted to know more about who she was outside the show. They followed her on social media, watched her updates, and began to piece together her personal story. What had once been private was now open for discussion. This change brought new pressure. Pickle was no longer just a hunter. She had become a public figure. One of the most talked about parts of her life was her relationships. Viewers noticed changes over time, and speculation began to grow. Online discussions increased, with fans trying to understand what was happening behind the scenes. Then came the major moment. She announced her pregnancy. The news surprised many people. For some, it explained her reduced appearances. For others, it raised new questions about her future on the show. Becoming a parent is a life-changing event. It brings responsibility, emotional shifts, and a need to rethink priorities. For someone working in a dangerous environment like alligator hunting, those decisions become even more serious. The swamp is not a safe place. Each hunt carries risk. Every moment requires focus. Adding the responsibility of a growing family can change how a person approaches that danger. At the same time, social media continued to grow louder. Fans shared opinions, asked questions, and sometimes made assumptions without full information. Some believed she was leaving the show. Others thought she would return stronger than ever. But the truth was not so simple. Reality television often shows only a small part of someone's life. Many important moments happen off camera. What viewers see is edited, shaped, and presented in a certain way. Pickle's situation was no different. While she appeared strong and confident on screen, her personal life required attention and care. She had to balance her role as a hunter, a television personality, and now a mother. That balance is not easy. It requires choices. Some of those choices are visible, others are not. Her reduced presence on certain episodes began to stand out more clearly. Fans noticed. Questions grew louder. Was she stepping away? Or was she simply taking time for something more important? The answers were not immediately clear. But one thing was certain. Her life was changing, and those changes were beginning to affect her role in ways the audience could not fully understand yet. And as her personal journey moved forward, her place on the show began to shift in ways no one expected. As the seasons of Swamp People continued, something began to change. Pickle Wheat was still part of the show, but her presence felt different. Some episodes featured her heavily. Others showed little or no sign of her at all. For viewers who had followed her rise, the shift was noticeable. Questions started quietly, then grew louder across social media and fan communities. Where was she? Speculation spread quickly. Some believed she had left the show completely. Others thought she had been replaced or removed. A few suggested there were behind-the-scenes conflicts. But in reality television, things are rarely that simple. Production schedules are complex. Episodes are often filmed months in advance, then edited to fit storylines. Not every moment makes it to the screen, and not every absence means something dramatic has happened. Still, the timing raised curiosity. Her reduced appearances seemed to match major changes in her personal life. According to available updates and public posts, Pickle was focusing more on her family during this period. Her pregnancy and transition into motherhood required time, energy, and attention. These were responsibilities that could not be ignored. At the same time, the demands of filming remained intense. Long days on the water, coordinating with crews, facing unpredictable conditions. These are not easy tasks, especially during such an important stage of life. This created a natural conflict. Balancing family and a high-risk job is difficult. Balancing family and a television career adds even more pressure. For viewers, however, this reality was not always visible. Instead, what they saw was absence. And absence often leads to assumptions. Online discussions continued. Some fans expressed concern. Others shared theories that went far beyond the available facts. This is a common pattern in modern media, where information spreads quickly but is not always accurate. Despite the rumors, there was no clear evidence of a dramatic exit. Instead, the situation appeared to be a gradual shift, a change in priorities, a temporary step back rather than a complete departure. But uncertainty remained. Because without official statements or clear explanations on the show itself, the full picture stayed incomplete. And for many viewers, that uncertainty became part of the story. It turned a simple absence into a mystery, one that continued to grow with each passing episode. But as more details slowly came into focus, the truth began to take shape in a way few had fully expected. And when the real reason finally came to light, it revealed a path no one had fully considered. As time passed, the questions slowly began to find answers. Pickle Wheat had not disappeared. She had simply stepped into a new chapter of her life. After the public speculation and shifting appearances on Swamp People, updates from her social media and public activity started to paint a clearer picture. She was focusing on her family, especially her role as a mother. This was not a temporary pause. It was a major life transition. Motherhood changed everything. Daily routines became different. Priorities shifted. Time that was once spent in the swamp was now shared with her child and loved ones. These are changes that do not always fit easily with the demands of television production. But that did not mean she had walked away completely. Reports and occasional appearances suggested that she still maintained a connection to the swamp lifestyle. Hunting was not just a job for her. It was part of her identity, something built over years of experience. Even away from regular filming, that connection remained strong. Her updates showed moments of normal life, family time, quiet days away from cameras. At the same time, glimpses of the outdoors and hunting culture continued to appear, reminding viewers that this part of her had not disappeared. For many fans, this brought a sense of clarity. The mystery was not about conflict or sudden removal. It was about change. A natural, human change. Reality television often captures people at specific moments in their lives. But life continues beyond those moments. Paths shift. Roles evolve. New responsibilities take priority. Pickle's journey reflected that reality. She was no longer just the rising star introduced in 2021. She was someone balancing experience, public attention, and personal growth. At the same time, questions about her future on Swamp People still remained. Would she return full-time? Would she continue appearing occasionally? Or would her path move further away from television? There was no final answer. because her story was still unfolding. And that uncertainty left the door open for what might come next. The swamp was still there. The skills were still there. The connection had not been broken. It had simply changed form. Because even now, the swamp remains part of her story, and the next chapter may already be beginning. Picklewheat's journey shows how life can shift in quiet but powerful ways, even under public attention. From the swamp to television and into motherhood, her story continues to evolve. If you found this story meaningful, consider subscribing for more real-life journeys and untold stories that reveal what truly happens behind the scenes.